Good evening and welcome to GDFL Football Focus. Once again on this Thursday evening, a big show coming up leading into Easter and Good Friday, so we're hoping to give you a few laughs and a bit of football, a bit of netball as always, and some great interviews and a lot more news and information throughout the next hour on Channel 31. But as always, before we start with our football, we start with netball and GDFL Netball with Paula Contel, and I can say honestly that she is the best dressed netball television correspondent in Australia. Look at this, if you don't mind. Good evening, Paula. How are you?
Good evening. Yeah, good.
Now, we're dressed by Brown's Men's Land, beautiful Brown's Men's, but you are dressed, I don't know who you're dressed by.
I dare not say.
Please tell the story behind this.
At Bellpost Hill, we haven't had a win yet. We've had 2 losses. We thought we'd update our costumes and we might put a little feather bow around our bibs. What do you reckon? That's what we thought we might do. We're just toying with the idea.
You did say bibs then, didn't you? Yeah, no, that's okay. That's all right.
It's a good look. No, actually, I've got to go straight from here to the show Taming of the Shrew at the Eastern Gardens, which is a Shakespearean play, bit of culture. And I'm wearing this, actually, in the opening scene.
So straight from netball correspondent to leading role.
Yep.
Unbelievable. Well, let's have a look at round 2 netball on the weekend.
Yeah, another big round as the teams sort themselves out on the ladder. Bellpost Hill, as I said, we had another loss. Bannockburn defeated us 47-29. I must point out, though, that it was even Stevens in the first half. We're only down by 4 goals at half-time, and then they really came out blaring in that second half. They've got 15 new players at Bannockburn under coach Vicky Hickleton, so they're going to do quite nicely, I think, this season. Inverleigh Geelong West, there was no game there in the A grade. Werribee Central's 31 defeated Winchelsea 21, so they're looking a great strength because Winchelsea, of course, finished second on the ladder last year and were very strong. Thompson 46 defeated Anarchy 23. The Belmont Lions 42 defeated Corio 26, and North Geelong 36 defeated East Geelong 21 in the A grade. And we'll take a look, shall we, at the A grade ladder?
We will.
At the moment, Thompson sitting on top with 2 wins. Also on 2 wins, North Geelong and then the Belmont Lions. On 1 win, we have Winchelsea, Corio, Werribee Centrals and Bannockburn, and yet to have a win following them, Bellpost Hill, then East Geelong, Anarchy and Geelong West Cricket and Football Club.
And just before we go to the B grade, Paula, that was a bit of an upset, Werribee Centrals and Winchelsea. As you said, Winchelsea runners-up last year and have been pretty impressive throughout the 12 months they've been back in the competition. And Werribee won the B and C grade last year, so obviously picked up a few more players as well. They're pretty strong in A grade.
Yeah, you wonder about the home ground advantage then, whether perhaps travelling up to Werribee, whether that influenced it or whether someone was out. I haven't actually heard if anyone was out of that lineup. If not, I think we're all going to be very worried when we come up against Werribee Centrals for our first matches. So good luck to them. In the B grade, Bellpost Hill went down 21 to Bannockburn's 30. Inverleigh 15 to Geelong West 28. Werribee Central's 30 defeated Winchelsea 22. Thompson 61, a big win over Anarchy 14. The Belmont Lions 31 defeated Corio 24, and North Geelong 23 went down to East Geelong 44 in the B grade. And B grade's ladder looks like this: Thompson on top, followed by Werribee Centrals, East Geelong and Bannockburn with 2 wins apiece. North Geelong, Winchelsea, Belmont Lions and Geelong West with 1 win. And then Bellpost Hill, Corio, Inverleigh and Anarchy yet to put any score on the board. And in the C ground matches, few teams, 1 team missing in C grade. We had Bellpost Hill went down to Bannockburn 16-33. No game for Inverleigh Geelong West. Werribee Central's 23 went down to Winchelsea 27 in a close one. Thompson 15 lost to Anarchy 21. The Belmont Lions 26 defeated Corio 12. North Geelong 69, a big win over East Geelong 12. And looking quickly at the C grade ladder, Winchelsea on top with 2 wins and Anarchy second place with 2 wins also. 1 win apiece to Bannockburn, North Geelong, Werribee Centrals, East Geelong and Belmont Lions. And that follows, they're followed by Thompson, then Bellpost Hill, Corio, Geelong West and Inverleigh yet to have a win for the season. So that wraps up netball, Jace.
And you've got the weekend off.
Yes.
Easter weekend.
Recovery for all those injuries. A few of us are injured, so
you're only 2 weeks into the season.
I know. Look, what can I say?
Have a good
Too
Easter.
much of this.
And have a good Taming of the Shrew tonight too. Paula Contel will join us next Thursday night, as always, with our netball segment. We'll take a short break and then back to look at football round 2 of the GDFL after this. Thanks to Paula Contel. We'll have more GDFL netball next Thursday evening. Time to turn our attention to football. round 2 of the GDFL season last Saturday, and also one game on Sunday. The people doing the talking, as always, sitting directly to my left, Eric Nichols. Good evening to you, Eric.
Good evening, Jace. Good to be back again.
And the man who sits next to him in the commentary box, Laurie de Goldie, on a Saturday afternoon. How are you, Laurie?
I'm fine, thanks, Jason. Good evening, listeners.
And the Red Lobster behind the bar, the man himself. Have a look at this. Look at that.
I've got to change the lighting. This is unbelievable, folks. There you go. I wear an orange shirt. I blend in with the backdrop of my shout, of course, who supplies this magnificent bar that's here every Thursday night. And I had a quick look around once again. Nothing in there, but we'll get that sorted out. It was a great weekend for footy, and a beautiful day on Saturday where went out on the banana lounge and lie down there with my great ample body facing towards the sun, getting a bit of a tone up. And then went out on Sunday and got absolutely drenched. Great weekend for footy, Jason.
Yeah, thanks for that, Dick.
I thought I'd mention that was all.
Yeah, no, good. And, just before we go to the review of round 2, Eric, probably no real upsets in the weekend's round of football. Probably North Geelong and East Geelong were affected by the weather a little bit because there was only, 12 goals kicked. So a few teams on Saturday got a bit of a percentage booster, as Dick was saying, in terms of the weather.
Yeah, the weather was incredible for the weekend. Friday, quite a torrential downpour and probably softened most of the grounds up. Magnificent, as Dick mentioned, sunny Saturday. Most of us could have got sunburned fairly easily. And Sunday, I was just going out the door to go to North Geelong, a torrential downpour about 10 past 2, and I felt really sorry for the players and I stayed home.
As you should. And also, Laurie, 3 teams without a loss, Bannockburn, Corio and Thompson, who were probably muted before the start of the season to be through the leaders, so they've started well, haven't they?
Well, they certainly have, Jason, and look, we had a great season last year. You know, the grand finals resulted in a point decision, and look, I've been fortunate to see Bannockburn and Thompson, and I find it pretty hard to put a line through both those sides, actually. Both of them have impressed me in different ways. Very impressed with Thompson last Saturday. I thought they were very good in the defence, very good up forward, and they were pretty well a complete unit. And it'll be a great contest when they see Bannockburn. Bannockburn was similar the week before. They were much the same. They had a well-balanced team all over the ground, and they looked as they're going to be in for a good season. And Corio, very much the same type of team as they had last week, with Kevin Dan's probably difference, and they're doing everything well as they could do, I guess.
So we'll look at a review of the round 2 action shortly, but before we do, we'll take a break. But before we go to the break, Dick, or as you're known, the Red Lobster now, look at you, unbelievable. The shirt matches the head, which is good to see.
I mean, don't start. Terrible lighting. We've got to get the lighting fixed up.
There's nothing wrong with the lighting.
Well, it's everything sort of, well, I know, folks, don't adjust your set. This is not your set problem, this is our lighting. Never mind, we'll get it right. But I've got to tell you that, as you can see, folks, yes, the Lobster is dressed in the best looking shirt you've ever seen in your entire life, which just goes to prove that if Brown's Men's Land, who supply the clothes here for the boys on the set, the boys you can see tonight in their lovely little shirts they've got on, and me in my lovely big shirt, it just goes to prove one thing, folks, that anybody can get dressed down at Brown's Men's Land. Doesn't matter whether you're big or you're small or you've got a more mature body like the big bloke here behind the bar, because they will look after you. Go down and see Terry, Jim and Kylie and tell them that Dick sent you and you want a shirt just like Dick's without the body in it. That'll look a lot better, wouldn't it? Back to you, Jose.
Oh, thanks very much, Dick. Well done. Yes, exclusively dressed this evening by Brown's Men's Land, as always, throughout season 2003. We'll take a break. When we come back, a look at round 2 of the GDFL in full after this. Welcome back to GDFL Football Focus. Time to turn our attention to round 2 of the GDFL on Saturday and also one game on Sunday. As Eric and Dick were alluding to earlier, there it was a little bit inclement on Sunday, but the weather on Saturday was great, and Inverleigh certainly took advantage of that. Inverleigh 32-16, 208 big winners over Geelong West 9-56 out at the Inverleigh Sports Ground. Mark Cowan kicking 7 goals, Darren Guest and Michael Bowman 5 apiece. And Eric, we spoke last week in our preview of this game that they would be helped by the inclusion of Mark Cowan, and it proved right.
Absolutely, and I'm surprised to see also Jason McGowan in the best players. I would have thought he might not have played, but I think the game was set up with something like a 12-goal second quarter from Inverleigh, and at home that basically blew Geelong West right off the planet, because a huge lead at half-time, something like 20 goals at half time, and probably slowed down a little in the second half, and I suppose the lack of the 2 or 3 top quality players probably allowed the team to slacken off in the second half. But unfortunately, it really does look as if Geelong West are going to have a long season. We had the coach on last week, and he's got the right attitude, but they've got to have players on the field, and I think in Inverleigh, it's a very good sign for them.
And Laurie, as Eric alluded to, that Geelong West, they got a thumping in round 1, and it hasn't got much better for them in round 2.
No, it certainly hasn't, Jason, and 32 goals, that's a lot of goals. I think that's probably the first thing could be addressed, I think, is probably try and be a little bit more accountable in the defensive areas and try and pick up your men and probably just run with them, be a little bit basic. And look, it's very difficult when players are on a roll and they're moving forward, and with the modern day footy and with the firepower they had up there with Mark Cowan moving around, obviously they had plenty of avenues to go to goal there, and it's always going to be hard for the sides like West Geelong. But I think that's probably what they've got to do, is man up and just run with sides and just see if they can peg that back a bit.
So Inverleigh, big winners over Geelong West by 152 points at the Inverleigh Sports Ground on Saturday. Next game was Belpost Hill and Bannockburn at Myers Reserve. The Panthers and the Tigers both started the season with a win, and it was Bannockburn 24-10-154 who defeated Belpost Hill 16-18-114. The star of the show for Bannockburn was Tom Mullane Grant, the youngster we saw the week before, kicked 3 or 4. Well, he kicked 10 on the weekend, Eric, and led the way for the Tigers.
No doubt about that, Justin. I think the signs were there in the second half of the first week when we saw Tom Mullane Grant. He played an excellent second half and probably was instrumental in really tidying up the game for the Bannockburn side. But a fine team effort. Tom Mullane Grant, probably the difference in the game. They've only won by 8 goals, he's kicked 10. And Belpost Hill probably wouldn't be dramatically disappointed with that, kicking 16-18 at home. But it's a very good Bannockburn unit, I think, coming together. And I think Darren Ryan and Christian Shaw will be pretty pleased with their first up 2 games.
And Laurie, it gives Belpost Hill a bit of an idea about where they're sitting at the moment. Bannockburn, as we said, touted as one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the league, so it gives them an idea about where they're at the moment.
Yeah, certainly, Jason. They were fairly keen to take on Bannockburn up there, and they were pretty confident they could do well. They haven't done too badly up there, because I think when the season gets down the track a little bit, I think we'll find out that Bannockburn are a pretty good unit, and that's pretty competitive stuff there, 16-18, so they've had a fair bit of the footy as well, and so that's good signs for them, and as I said, they're going to be knocking on the finals again this year, so but Bannockburn are very, very good.
And Dick, it was good to see there. You were a minute ago, you were getting stuck into the newspaper, not even taking any notice of us.
I was doing a research.
Are you doing your research, were you?
Require my expertise.
Well, go on then.
Oh, what's some expertise?
Oh, well.
Want to talk about North Geelong?
No, not yet. No.
Fair enough.
No. You don't want to talk about Belpost Hill and Bannockburn?
No, the President told me not to talk about North Geelong this year.
Fair enough. All right, Bannockburn 40-point winners over Belpost Hill on Saturday. Our next game was at Galvin Park between Werribee Centrals and Winchelsea. Both sides starting the season with a loss, but Werribee Centrals bounced back, and Winchelsea unfortunately lost their second game of the season. Werribee Centrals 19-16-130 defeated Winchelsea 8-10-58 at Galvin Park, and it was the coach Peter Williams leading the way for Werribee with 4 goals, and he'd be happy to get off the mark for season 2003, Eric.
Oh, absolutely. Any win is a great win, particularly so early in the season, but it must have been a fairly disappointing game for 3 quarters. I think Winchelsea had only kicked 2 goals and Werribee had only kicked 10 or 11, but a great last quarter by both sides, and Werribee Centrals probably they'll reap quite a few benefits from a win such as that, because they're going to have some tougher games coming up in weeks to come.
And Laurie, Winchelsea might be looking forward to the game against Geelong West the way they're going at the moment. They're both struggling a little bit, aren't they, early in the season?
Yeah, look, it's fairly difficult for those sides. I mean, that's true. I mean, they're looking for those sort of games. They're probably the ones they consider probably be a bit easier. Look, Werribee, they've had their first 2 games at home. I guess that's an advantage, and to have to travel from Winch to go up to Werribee is probably fairly difficult anyhow. And look, I'm just not sure where Werribee at the moment. They seem to me to just have a lot of players they had last year, and if that's the case, they're going to have troubles with the Thompsons and the Easts and maybe Bannockburns as well. But you can only win, and 130 points is a good day's work.
So Werribee Central's winners over Winchelsea by 72 points. Our match day coverage on Channel 31 and 94.7 The Pulse on Saturday was Thompson and Anarchy, and I must admit, I did pick the game, Eric. I tried to lay it on Eric earlier in the week, but it was me who picked the game. Unfortunately for us and also our viewers, it wasn't too good. 117 points the difference in the end. Thompson 22-28, 160 defeated Anarchy 6-7-43. It could have been a lot worse, Eric, had they kicked straight, especially in the first quarter. They kicked 5-10 Thompson, and it could have been all over.
Absolutely, yes. They kept Anarchy in the game for a long, long time. But I was very pleased with the Thompson performance because it endorsed what I thought the week before. And I think you guys were a bit reticent about just how good I thought Thompson were, but they really played extremely well. And the thing that's impressed me the 2 weeks I've seen them, their team football, they're prepared to feed the first handball out, they're doing it as a unit, and it's a long, long time since I've seen Timmy Gardner flip the first handball out, because he usually tries to crash his way through, but he's become a very, very key part of that team because he's prepared to play as a team man.
Yeah, they're doing things a bit differently, Laurie, now. A lot of times we saw it was a run at all costs, take marks across the back line, handball it off or feed it off very quickly and attack the football.
Yeah, look, as I said, they were very impressed with them. I thought their defensive area was very, very good. They've really improved in that area with Marcus Forbes across the back line. I think Yates from Lara, very, very big boy, played well up there. Troy Thelma was able to go up there in the latter part. The only thing, they probably could have kicked another 40 goals this week, I think, if they had kicked accurately. I think they were just a little bit panicky when they went forward. I think I might have suggested to Shane on Pulse that can sort that out. I'm pretty sure we will. I don't think they can be happy with the way they went forward. They wasted too many opportunities. So if they can sort that out, they'll kick a lot of big totals this season.
So Thompson winners over Anarchy at Godfrey Street by 117 points. The next game was the Belmont Lions playing Corio at Winter Reserve, and as both sides having wins in round 1, the Belmont Lions by a point over East Geelong and Corio easily over Werribee Centrals. The Devils made it 2 wins from 2 starts, 18-21, 129. They defeated the Belmont Lions 12-13, 85. In the corresponding match late in last season, Eric, we saw the Belmont Lions give themselves a chance of making the finals by defeating the Devils, but not on Saturday. No,
I think this probably became a reality check for the Belmont Lions on Saturday, because all of a sudden they encountered the Corio machine in top gear, and the 39 scoring shots to 25, that's, as Laurie would say, they've had a fair bit of the football up forward, and had they kicked straight it could have been a monumental win. But it's a very good performance from Corio. They struggled out there last year. I think they've got it together. Ricky O'Toole said a couple of weeks ago he felt that the side was as good, if not better, certainly looking perhaps better at this point in time.
Yeah, Laurie, they've topped it up with a couple of extra players, including Lisa Vanker in the ruck, and that was probably one area that they were missing last year.
Well, actually, I think we saw him play in the ruck one game at Corio, and he did very well out there, so they might have taken a bit of a look at that and suggested that he could play there. Look, North Shore, I remember a few years ago, they never had any tools either, and they were very strong unit out there. Look, the thing that impressed me about both these 3 sides, I'm looking at the moment, Thompson, Bannockburn, Corio, I've had a look at their reserves results, and they've got quite a few good players running around in the 2s, and I think that's a big plus. And the other sides are, they lose 1 or 2 good players, like Peter McVilly wasn't there or injured. They just can't afford those other sides to lose that, so that you're playing sides with a bit of depth. And that's a luxury to have that, of course. But Belmont Lions, I think they've probably improved as well. They certainly have. But I agree with Eric. It's probably just a little bit of a reality check, and if they can take that on board, they'll be there again, I think, at the end of the season.
So Corio, their second win of the season by 44 points over the Belmont Lions. The final game was on Sunday. It was out at North Geelong. The Magpies unfurled their reserves and seniors premiership flags for 2002. And the seniors, well, in the end, had a win by 13 points. 7-10-52. They defeated East Geelong 5-9-39 in the conditions that weren't conducive to good football, Eric.
Oh no, that's a very good win in the conditions. But it would be a bit of a concern to me, I think, if I was Russell Hearn, because they gave East Geelong a couple of goals start at 3/4 time, and obviously they've come home very, very well in the conditions, but you're going to come unstuck if you give good sides a start at 3/4 time. But a win's a win, and after a disappointment at Anarchy the first week, obviously they're starting to get some numbers back, and I think North Geelong will be thereabouts again.
And not a very good start to the season for East Geelong, Laurie, sorry, they're 0-2.
No, well, I spoke to a few of the guys at the launch of the league, and East Geelong was banded around that they'd recruited pretty well, and I said last show that we had Mick O'Leary in the side, so that they didn't certainly have improved, but North Geelong, I think that was good for them. I think we spoke the week before about the fact that they were unfurling the flag and you had a little bit of an adrenaline rush out there. It took a while to get the rush up, Eric. I think that was the only thing, but they got over the line, and Russell will be pleased with that. Look, it is very difficult when you win a premiership, and quite a few of their top line players have left for other reasons, and one good reason is that a lot of the guys achieve their goal and move on somewhere else, and he's got to work at that, and I'm sure he will. He knows what it's all about there, but they've got one win on the board now, so that's good for them.
So North Geelong are winners by 13 points over East Geelong, and the big man behind the bar actually tipped East Geelong to win. And
no, get it straight, James. Get it straight. I did not pick against North Geelong. I did pick Anarchy last week to beat North Geelong, and I was correct because my heart would always like North Geelong to win, but I'm being an unbiased sporting expert this year.
Yeah, right, whatever. Well, don't talk about them, talk about one of our sponsors before we go to the break.
Oh, Slumville, come and see Leo Venata, with his frittata. Say that pretty well. Anyway, if I really get your teeth into a really good pasta, well, you've got to go down and see my mate Leo Venata at Rimini Restaurant, without doubt Geelong's leading and premier pasta restaurant. And not only pasta, but a magnificent spaghetti bolognese as well, and also a great steak and a nice little bit of grilled fish. But Maria, his mum out the back, she'll make a beautiful meal for you down there, and they even do a great chicken parmigiana, if you like that sort of stuff as well. Go down and see my mate Leo at Rimini's in Murrible Street, just up on the Pancake Parlour, and so go to Leo, and to Maria, and to Annie, who is from Kansas City on work experience. Yes, sir, thank you very much. Yes.
And we'll also have a question next week, Dick, because we've got a week off this week, Rimini Cafe question next week.
Yes, this is proving an extremely popular segment, this, with people rushing the boys at the commentary position with the correct answer. And of course, the correct answer this week was Jason Habib, that was the coach of the Anarchy Football Club, and the winner just escapes me, but I know the boys have given him a voucher, a $50 voucher to go and have a wonderful meal at Rimini Restaurant. And next week we'll be giving you the question when we work out which match of the day that we'll be covering on 94.7 The Pulse and Channel 31.
I'll give you the winner. It was Graham Stewart from East Geelong. You're hopeless, Dick. You are absolutely hopeless. So we will have another question next week as part of our Football Focus show. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have a look at the ladders of after round 2 of the seniors, and we'll also have footy flashbacks. That'll be up after the break. We'll also have our face-to-face interview later. We'll look at some highlights, and we'll have a bit of a look at the season so far. It's only 2 rounds old, but there's been a bit happening already. More of that after this break.
Brain of guest video down at Winters Reserve, where we've got the match of the round, round 14 of the Geelong District Football League between East Belmont and Bannockburn. It's with pleasure I introduce you to ex-Geelong, veteran of 65 games, presently coaching the Bannockburn side, Alan Woodman. Good afternoon, Alan.
G'day, Brady.
Alan, just before we talk about your team, personal attributes of your own over the seasons, you just about won every best and fairest, mate, in every competition in Victoria country.
Well, I've been fortunate there, I suppose.
It would have nothing to do with your size and strength, Alan, do you think?
Well, I mean, I use it to advantage, but, I chase the ball, and if you wear the ball, the umpires see it.
Well, we're all getting older, Al. I won't be too personal, but if you'd like to tell me how old you are, I'll be very interested, because it's a credit to you to still be out there leading the Bannockburn Tigers. What age are you, Alan?
I'm just 35.
Well, mate, congratulations on a great personal effort, and I'm looking forward to the game here this afternoon with you leading your boys. And talking of the Bannockburn Tigers, the 13 games to date, what's your opinion of this change in direction with the Geelong District Football League playing, Division 2 sides playing Division 1? How's it worked?
Well, I think that in the seniors it's worked fairly well. I mean, it's been more competitive, so the players have had to, improve a lot. It's been difficult to win, but I think that, if we could only get the league to change it so that we're all Division 1 teams at the start of the year, so you would assist with recruiting, we could be more competitive.
Yeah, good wise words there, Alan. I agree with you. Actually, changing it sort of like they did, at the last moment didn't give you guys much of a chance to do your pre-season recruiting. And I tend to agree with you there. But the Bannockburn Tigers doing very well, leading the Division 2 competition. And, well, you're playing East Belmont today at East Belmont. They've only one game behind you. East Belmont usually pretty hard to beat at home. Your thoughts today, players to watch and the strengths that you believe will get you home at the end of the day?
Yeah, well, I think that, you know, we're in a situation where East Belmont are considered the danger side, I think, in the competition. We haven't lost any matches against Division 2 sides yet, and so you know, hopefully we might be able to keep that record intact. The on-ball players of East have been the ones, Lucas and Dubsy and young McFarlane on the wing. They've been winning the ball a lot, and so I suppose we need to make sure today we try to stop those players from getting too many possessions. And if we can keep it in our forward line, then we'll give ourselves a chance.
Well, that's been Alan Woodman, coach of the Bannockburn Tigers. Thank you very much, Alan, for your time here, and look forward to enjoying a cold one with you after the game.
No worries, thanks, Ray.
It's with pleasure I introduce you to the East Belmont coach in Rob Doubledan. Rob, good afternoon.
Good evening, on. Afternoon, that is.
Mate, at home to Bannockburn. Real big game for you guys today. Season's been pretty good to date. I see that you've won your 5 games with this new system that the GDFL have chosen to take. How did you think it's gone so far?
Oh, it's been good for us for sure. A bit of a teething problems, you know. We didn't know what we're up against. We do know now. We've certainly improved and tried to be competitive. At the moment, we've stopped a few games we shouldn't have dropped, but the season goes on and we're looking for a big win today.
You've had a great season yourself, and all your on-ball players have been very successful, I believe, to date. Alan Woodman is very concerned, and I would suggest a big, strong point for you here this afternoon.
Yeah, certainly our on-ball players and our smaller players are a key factor of our side. We are not over and down with big fellas, so we've got to adapt the game around our smaller blokes, and without them running, our game's shot to pieces.
Right, how many goals are you going to win by here today?
Oh, that's a good question. We're happy with 4 points, so a point would be enough, but let's hope we go and really crush them.
That lovely wife of yours well?
She's well, thank you.
Okay, that's been Rob Doubledan from the East Belmont side. Rodney, all the very best, mate, this afternoon. Thanks for your time, coming over and having a chat. Wasn't that painful, was it?
Wasn't that bad, no.
Okay, well, that's been Rob Doubledan from the East Belmont Football Club.
More footy flashbacks next week, and you can see some of the great stars of yesteryear on GDFL Football Focus every Thursday evening. Before we go to some highlights of our game between Thompson and Anarchy on Saturday, we'll have a look at the ladders after 2 rounds, and as expected by many, Thompson, Corio and Bannockburn lead the way with 2 wins apiece from their 2 games, followed by Inverleigh and Bellpost Hill on percentage in the top 5, then Werribee Centrals, North Geelong and the Belmont Lions and Anarchy with 1 win apiece. And the 3 teams yet to register a win, East Geelong, Winchelsea and Geelong West Sporting Club. So, Eric, probably the 3 teams we assumed might be near the top are, and pretty congested in the middle of the ladder as you'd expect after a couple of rounds, but probably the big story, East Geelong without a win.
Yes, that's probably the surprise packet of all the teams in the league, the fact that East Geelong haven't had a win. I suppose the first 3, it's pretty hard to work out just how good they're going to be, because the opposition in the first 2 games is probably not perhaps what it might be as the season goes on. But a very interesting ladder, the fact that all but 3 sides have a win, that's a good sign for the league.
Dick, I'm just making sure you're live.
Yes, I want to talk about the big function that's going on at Buckley's on May the 10th for the Geelong West Sporting Club. That's their new name there, the Geelong West Sporting Club, out there at the backyard, we call it, at Baker's Oval. The Cheetahs are known as down there in Geelong, the Geelong West Sporting Club. They wear the same colours as the West Coast Eagles. Well, they are having a night at Buckley's on May the 10th. It's at 7 o'clock, and it's a mob called the Barrackers. Now, what they are, they're a group of blokes, comedians, that actually take off footy a little bit and take the mickey out of it, and they're actually 4 blokes in the outer that do a bit of barracking. And I reckon we can all relate to them by the sounds of these guys, and we can all relate to the fact that we've been in the outer, and we can identify the fact that we've been part of the history of the footy like they have. Their name's Bazza, Shaz, Dino and Weasel. Now, there's probably one of those Gill Footy Club as well, without any doubt. Hey, camera 3, thank you very much. And keep those teeth in, fellas, come on, they cost a lot of money. And so come on, now get along there, give it a call. Now I've got the phone number there, and it's just, I've lost it for a second because here it is. Jeanette, this is live television, folks, trust me. Janine, lovely day today, Thursday, wasn't it? Yes, it was. Janine Frith, 0412, that's 0412 445 113. Janine Frith on 0412 445 113. The Burgers, Buckley's, May the 10th, 7 o'clock. Be there, top night, lots of laughs. $35 for a 2-course meal, $70 for 4 courses. Might as well go along.
Thanks to the big man behind the bar. We'll have a look at some highlights of our game on Saturday between Thompson and Anarchy. Then we'll take a break. Then we'll come back with Face to Face. Eric Nichols this week is talking to the Secretary of the Bannockburn Football Club, Denise Giles.
Well, no football this weekend being Easter, so it gives us an opportunity to discuss some of the topics around local football. One of them, of course, the role of the female in football administration. To discuss that with me this evening, it's my pleasure to introduce Denise Giles, the Secretary of the Bannockburn Football Club. Welcome, Denise.
Thanks very much, Eric.
It's great to have you along, and it's great to have you doing such a fantastic job with the Bannockburn Football Club. But before we get to that, a bit about your background. How long have you been in the Bannockburn area to start with, all your life?
I've been in the Bannockburn area, yes, all my life virtually, and have had long association with Bannockburn Football Club. Obviously, my husband played there as a life member, my son plays there, but prior to that, 2 of my younger brothers played there, one of them in the 1990 grand final, so I've been around for a while.
And of course the Black name, which was your maiden name, synonymous with Lethbridge and Bannockburn in football.
Yes, certainly, yes.
So, all right, how did you come to get into the situation of being Secretary of the Bannockburn Football Club? Was one of those things where they call for volunteers and everyone stepped backwards? Or?
Sometimes I think I was hoodwinked. I was approached to take on the job as Secretary after discussion with various people around about that obviously football gets to the stage where moves have to be made and you need to have maybe new ideas, new formats, and probably with the advance of technology, the younger people probably cope better with that, I think.
So how long ago was it that you actually took over the Secretary's role?
This is my 7th season.
So you've done very, very well, and 7 years in that role. Any aspirations to go any further?
Oh, I wouldn't go as
the
far as saying
role
that.
Or something? No, I guess in my day, 40 years ago, as a footy coach, my knowledge of the club secretary was the person who went to meetings, took the minutes, looked after the clearances, and basically did the administrative things. Is that still the role of the club secretary?
Yes, the basic part of it is still the role. That's your job. Of course, there's a lot more paperwork administration, computer administration, and part of your female persona, I suppose, is that men expect females to fit into a certain role, and it does give them a shock when you actually can do an administrative role as well or better than what they can, but they still want to know, you know, where the sausages are and, you know, where the gas bottle is and that sort of stuff, which is not really the secretary's role. But those sorts of things do come into it. But it's a very time-consuming role, yeah.
In general, can you see, and did it happen in your situation, where because a female has come into an administrative role in a football club, did that release another male body to perhaps do some other jobs, or do you find that it's pretty difficult these days to really get people to do jobs?
I think we at Bannockburn have been very fortunate that we have been a family football club for a long time. We still foster that. That's our number one aim, is for that family orientation. And as such, it means that the younger, perhaps people who have just finished playing, or maybe who haven't ever had any intention of playing, tend to come to football and stay around. And that's where we're so very fortunate.
And I suppose one of the factors was instrumental in you coming along. Your background was a form of a secretarial work, and that probably helped you doing a football job.
Yeah, no, I actually was never secretary of anything. I was more likely to be the president, and I don't do money. But the secretary's role, for some obscure reason, I decided that, yeah, I could do that.
In my day, the secretary often came with me to interview prospective players in recruiting and so forth. I couldn't imagine Denise Giles going out with Darren Ryan, the current coach, to interview footballers. Does it happen?
Yes, it does.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
Particularly in interview, not so much with players, but certainly with coaches, because the coaches have to have a certain rapport with the secretary. I think it's important that the secretary gets to know the coaches, the prospective players, and certainly coach interviews. Yes, I have quite regularly been at coach interviews and at clearance hearings.
Yeah, so in real terms, I guess the secretary's role, be it male or female, hasn't changed over the years.
No. It takes a bit of time for a male-orientated position, such as mine, for everybody to sort of take it on board that you can do it, that you want to do it.
Your acceptance in the football club itself, and certainly in the Geelong District Football League as a female secretary, you found that difficult?
No, not at all. The league have been terrific. Alan and I actually started at the same time in the same season, and so I suppose we learnt together, but everybody at this league has been just so approachable. They've made my job very easy, because if you don't know, you can always ring up and you're going to get an answer. And in my dealing with other leagues, with clearances and things like that, has been, every season you have to do it. This league is just so far ahead of other leagues that it makes it very, very easy.
Yeah, I suppose my mind goes back to the mid-80s when I actually coached the Geelong Amateur Footy Club, and we had 3 female trainers, and people were a bit aghast, but the female role is becoming more and more prominent in certainly Geelong District football.
Yes, definitely. I think every club you go to, you'll find females in high-profile positions, be it secretary, treasurer, trainers. Yeah, they're there. There's heaps of them there, and they are providing a very good thing for females, for women in the sport, in that they show they can do it, and that we are good at it, and that the acceptance of the men is terrific, I think.
And the Bannockburn Footy Club itself had a couple of years where they've, I suppose, been rebuilding, and you've probably been fairly privy to all of that. All of a sudden, new coach, new assistant coach, looking the good so far this year? Yeah,
we're very happy with that, And I think part of the fact that I've been there for 7 years is every year, something's changed, and you think, oh, well, it's really not fair to get out yet, and I think, oh no, this year I'm not going back, I'm not renominating. But then, your senior coach resigns, and you think, well, you've got to be prepared to take the extra step, getting new coaches and promoting your football club.
And I really couldn't let you go without asking you the influence of Billy Caldo over your job, and certainly over the Bannockburn Footy Club.
Oh, Bill is the legend. Like, he was obviously my president when I first started, and he just made my job so easy because he has so much knowledge. He had so much time to give you, and he set me on the right path. He gave me the introduction to Don Cole, who got me into administration course almost immediately, which was Bill's doing, and it just made my job so much easier.
All right, Denise, fantastic to discuss the issues with you, and I've got to say, from a personal viewpoint, always approachable of a Saturday when we come looking for information, and I appreciate and thank you for that. And I hope that perhaps there's some females watching tonight that might, as a result of our discussion, come along to a football club and take a more active role. But certainly, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you, and I hope they come along too, because it's really worth the effort, and they get lots and lots of rewards out of it.
It's been Denise Giles, the Secretary of the Bannockburn Football Club.
That was Eric Nichols with Denise Giles, face-to-face, thanks to Geelong Fire Sprinkler Services. We'll be back next Thursday night, and you were quite surprised that Denise had been doing the job for so long, Eric.
Yes, it did surprise me, and but she's just such a wonderful worker out there, and you don't realise that she's been doing it for so long.
So more face-to-face, as we said, next Thursday night on Football Focus. Well, we haven't got any games to preview for Saturday because the Easter weekend is a weekend off for our GDFL clubs. So even though it's only been going 2 rounds, Eric, there probably might be a couple of teams who might be happy and looking forward to having a week off, maybe getting some injured players back, and because it has been a fairly arduous pre-season.
It certainly has, and I guess East Geelong would be in that category. I was speaking to David Van der Poel last Saturday at Thompson, actually. He's pretty cunning. He gets around the games when he's not having to play. But we were talking about Luke McLean, who was one of their assistant coaches last year, one of their key players, trying his hand in Western Australia. Some suggestion that he may come back, and he would be just the sort of player that East Geelong really want back now, because they just lost a bit of impetus, but they lost a game by a point, and they lost to last year's premiers by 3 goals. So they're not totally out of it, I think, 2 games into the season, but it's very, very interesting. I suppose some sides, when they're on a roll, the Thompsons, perhaps they don't want to spell. They're going on quite nicely.
Yeah, it's good for some, Laurie, and maybe possibly bad for other teams after 2 rounds.
Well, I think that's probably true though, Jason, but it is Easter, and I think a lot of the clubs that you do look forward to have a bit of a break. I think Inverleigh is one that probably looking forward to this. They've got a few guys with injuries as well, and they got Mark Cowan back last week. If they can continue to get players back, that's what they're looking for. And I've said before, I think Inverleigh's season's probably going to be better in the next second half of the season. And look, at this point of time, I think we've got a lot to look forward to, I think.
The other thing, Laurie, every now and again you get cricketers who decide they won't play footy till after Easter, regardless of when Easter is.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
We've missed a couple of rounds already, but we'll have a full preview next Thursday night of round 3 of the GDFL. Before we go to some extended highlights of Thompson and Anarchy from Saturday, Dick, some of our other sponsors on the show.
Wonderful people who look after us here at the show. This is the time of the show that when maybe the family, except for Dad, might move out of the room, because I want to talk to Dad right now. Dad might have a bit of a problem with the plumbing from time to time. Yeah, we do, don't we? Look at something those blokes. We don't like to mention too much because we're not probably what we crack up to be at home half the time, are we? No, we're not. So if you've got a problem with the plumbing and you've tried the drainer and the Epsom salts and the rubber clubs, give Steve and the boys at Corio Bay Plumbing on 52741899 and give them a go out there, because I tell you what, Steve Ganger, a mate of mine, he runs the show out there. Give him a call, tell him Dick sent you, and get the plumbing fixed up. And remember, if the problem persists, see your doctor. Thank you.
What about some of our other sponsors?
Oh, we've got sponsors coming out of there. We've got a lot of them. What about Buckley's now? We haven't mentioned Buckley's for a while because the general manager got to be there or not. He said, you don't give us a big enough plug, so we've got to give a bit of a plug. And I'll tell you what, coming up at Buckley's, after you've been and seen the barracks out of, well, take Buckley's, stay overnight in the car park. I shouldn't tell people to do that. Because the next day is Mother's Day. And of course, Buckley's do it no better than anyone else in this town. Is that what I said? That's what I said. They do it better than anyone else in this town. You take 2. And I'll tell you what, they've got a magnificent as per normal Mother's Day lunch now. The bookings are running fast. So get on the phone and give Buckley's a call and book in for Mother's Day. 52 48 48 66. Go to Buckley's, best place in town for lunch, dinner, TAB, pokies, not bad at all out there, auditorium, the leagues room, anything. Buckley's is the one place stop for all your entertainment needs. Go and see my mate Kevin Hines, he runs the show too. So say hello to him while you're out there. Other sponsors?
I was going to say, you know a lot of people who run places.
Right, we know everybody, Jace, we do. This is the last sponsor of the night. We ready to still go?
Off you go.
Talk about the other. Well, good. We've been on the blokes, we'll talk to the ladies now. Ladies, come on. We got rid of Daddy's out of the room now. Getting the plumbing fixed up now. It's up to you to now. Would you like to get laid anywhere in the house 7 days a week? Now, I know I've asked you this question on many occasions, and I'm not getting much response, girls. Is that important in your life, to get laid in every room of the house? Well, I'm telling you where it can be done. You give the boys a call at Carpet Choice. Carpet Choice on 132008, and they will come out and they will give you a good measure and quote, and they'll lay you anywhere in the house 7 days a week. 132008 for the best carpet deal in town. There's no mistake about that. And we've got one more. Rolling. Yeah, very good at that. Magnificent stuff on camera 5. Rolling. Keep those Hollands moving, Tino. That's right. Go and see my good mate Tino Bolan, the big Italian stallion in Werribee, and he'll show you and give you the best deal on the new Commodore that's going out at the moment, I can tell you. If you've got an old Camaro sitting in the front yard, I reckon he'll give you a couple of grand for that, and there we are, beautifully done, working well tonight. Good producer on hand tonight. And go and see Tino Bolan in beautiful downtown Werribee. And that's it for the sponsors tonight.
Thank
you very much.
Thanks to the big man behind the bar, also known as the Red Lobster on some Thursday nights. We'll leave you with some highlights of Thompson and Anarchy on Saturday. Eric, have a good Easter.
Thanks very much, Dave.
And we'll see you next Thursday evening. Laurie, you do the same.
Yes, look forward to round 3.
Hope the golf game improves over the Easter period. Big man.
Yeah, I just remember too, I'm exhausted. Well, I'm exhausted, you can't do much about that, but if your car gets exhausted, that's when you've already forgotten the very last sponsor. If your car gets exhausted, call the Exhaust Brothers on 5277 9719. If you reckon I wasn't exhausted before, well, I am now.
He might even write them down next week. We'll see if he can do that. That's about it for Football Focus. Have a great Easter, have a good Friday, and have a great Easter. And we'll see you next Thursday night with a preview of round 3, big GDFL action coming up next Saturday. But until then, on behalf of the team, it's bye for now.
Forward position in front there as Anderson can't take the mark. Took a long time to get the handball. Finally, now he's held on to his opponent without the footy. And it's Purvis, the big fellow, in the back half, giving some assistance to the defenders, has been paid the free kick. Held without the footy. Perhaps he's a better kick in the back half, not having a shot for goal maybe.
Won't be so noticeable, Eric.
So Purvis now, deep in the back pocket for Anarchy, putting his hands out. There's nowhere to kick the footy, but I'll tell you what, I don't think that's a good option because Josh O'Coley and Christian Hyland have both intercepted. Goes to Warry, a little chip pass, barely 15 metres. Might have been a slips catch. If I was a batsman, I certainly wouldn't have walked. So, but the umpires paid the mark, and now Warry 30 metres out, directly in front, an opportunity to extend the Thompson lead. This fellow looks as if he's probably qualified too, Laurie, is quite a welcome addition to the Thompson side.
Yeah, I think he's a September player, as you call him, Eric. Yeah. Very handy, I think, when it comes around finals time.
So Warry now on the right foot. Good looking kick. Goal umpires moved across, but I don't think there's too much doubt in my mind, nor the goal umpires. Warry has kicked his third, and that's the 15th for the Thompson side. 15-19, 109. They lead Anarchy yet to score in this third term. 4-4-28. Lexus a Wyndham third quarter scoreboard. 11 minutes gone.
Just on that, boys, as he was shooting for goal, we've seen Nick Maharis come off the ground and Timmy Gardner come off the ground just for rest. So, you know, to be in a position like that and bring, I think Dale Menzies was one of the replacements on. And
Todd McLeod.
And Todd McLeod. So, you know, when you're in that position, everything's going well for you.
Well, Dale Menzies is a proven player in his own right, isn't he? And to have him sitting on the bench to start with.
Well, it's a good day to rotate the players anyhow now, so they can enjoy that luxury of probably rotating most of the players through the middle.
Free kick, and I think Anarchy ran into the square before acceptances, so the free kick will go to Dean Oakley in the middle. Goes to the right foot kick towards centre half forward. Walmsley goes up with Fitzsimmons. They nearly raffle it. Fitzsimmons wins and takes the mark. Goes out wide, looking for a trainer, I think, or Miller, whichever one. Miller, can he keep it in? Yes, he can. Handball over the top towards Harris. Oh, we're going to be surrounded here. Ducks his head. Handball backwards, 20 metres to Cummins. Runs hard at it. Gets away on centre wing. Kick up and under towards half forward. Punched away by Oakley, and also Cuttajar was there, and it's out of bounds. Half forward flank. Anarchy into attack. So, a boundary throw in now. Purvis up against Yates. Short throw in, should favour Purvis. Gets it down towards Miller and Harris. They leave it behind through the middle. Warry does well. Little left foot kick towards Miller again. Aitchison coming through O'Connor. Cummins. Oh, bit indiscriminate. No, umpire says it's okay, and it'll be a ball up. So at half forward, the umpire will throw the ball in the air. It'll be Oakley up against Purvis. Oakley goes up, gets it down only as far as Cuttajar, breaks free, gets on the right foot kick, wobbly punt kick to centre half forward. Coming out Tate, might fall towards Vassalou, also coming out Gavin. Shows a turn of speed, handball though, missed its target. Riley's there, back towards Vassalou on hands and knees, threw it out the back. Goes back towards Gavin, and over the shoulder, said the umpire, and Phil Gavin will shoot for goal from 30 metres out. So, Phil Gavin, one of the veterans of the Anarchy side, will shoot for goal, 30 metres out. On a bit of an acute angle, but he's usually a pretty skillful player and loves the goals. He comes in, and I give him a wrap, and he puts it across. A great pass, but Tate couldn't take the mark. And it's off hands for one behind. So they go to 4-5-29 Anarchy, and they trail Thompson, who are 15-19, 109. That's on the Raiders. Lexus Wyndham third quarter scoreboard. 13.5 minutes played.
So Sabali Armstrong with the football. About to kick in, goes short and finds Marcus Forbes on his own. Now he's got Oakley on centre wing, so goes long. He's got Aitchison there in support, but Oakley takes the mark comfortably. Handball to Aitchison. Away go Thompson once again to centre half forward. Oakley. Well, they could have raffled it. Oakley and Feldman. Oakley took the mark. Now on the left foot goes towards full forward. Ball comes to ground. Mitchell overruns the footy. Cummins is more than happy, I think, to let the ball run over the boundary line. And we'll have a throw in between half forward flank and forward pocket for Thompson, kicking in this third quarter to the city end of the Godfrey Street Oval. And once they got it moving, Thompson took it the full length of the ground very, very quickly. Ball comes in. Coley doing the ruck work, pushed out by Walmsley. A kick, well, a very lucky kick has fallen into the arms there of Purvis on centre wing. Goes sideways, across the ground. It's all Anarchy out there. Picked up by Cummins. Handball back to Purvis. Handball over the top looking for Cuttajar. Ball not bouncing kindly. Highland wasn't really tackled with the footy because the ball held to him, and the umpire puts a whistle on play. In the centre of the oval here at the 15-minute mark of the third quarter. Big pack of players now around the football. Oakley gets a tap down. Cuttajar. Big punch out of fresh air. Leading in the race for the footy there is Habib for Anarchy. Not able to control it, however, and it's over the boundary line. Now it's probably a free kick now because the Anarchy player has kicked the footy away, but no, not to be. So the boundary umpire in front of the change rooms here at Thompson. About to bring the football back into play. Anarchy 4-5, trail Thompson 15-19 with the boundary umpire to bring the ball back into play. Purvis gets a tap down for Anarchy. Walmsley threw it across, sorry, that was Warry. Threw it across to Mitchell, but Thompson not able to control the footy. So it's out of bounds once again as the boundary umpire puts it in once more. Well, both ruckmen hit the ball the same direction. Handball from Habib over to Boogajar. It's a nice looking pass to the lead there of Vassalou, and he takes the mark just inside the 50-metre arc, directly in front, right in the middle of the Godfrey Street oval. If there's any bruise, he's kicking with it. And Vassalou now moves in. Not a bad looking kick off the boot, and has kicked the goal. So Vassalou kicks his second, and that's the fifth for the Anarchy side. 5-5-35. They trail Thompson 15-19, 109. Lexus of Wyndham's third quarter scoreboard, 16 and a half minutes gone.
It's just at a stalemate at the moment, the game, isn't it? It's waiting for one side to break it open. Thompson come out after half time and fired away, but Anarchy seem to be packing the game up and doing all right at the moment.
Must be all in your lounge room, I think, Welshie. Probably watching the footy. Back in the middle, Oakley goes up, gets it down towards Highland. Over the top of it with Harris, tries to break free, does so somehow and gets away. Goes to the right foot, the lead on from Maharis, goes in that direction of Coley right next to him. Handballs it to him as well, does well. Right foot kick short towards Anderson. Has to be over the top, great pick up. Now he breaks free, handball backwards to Mitchell. Just setting something up. He's got somebody in Highland in the pocket. He goes further afield to Maharis, puts his hand up, can't take the mark, off hands. Walmsley, in fact it was Felvin there.